Da Queen in the house. Many of you don't know this young lady, but which I doubt it, because she's very much involved in Yonkers community service, helping kids, helping families, doing what is right. Actually, I just met her, even though I knew of her, but we just met in person, I think it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Before that.
We did.
Yes, at a family day that Mike Canada gave. You came through with a lady who spoke Spanish, so I thought you were Spanish.
Oh, that might
so
be
this is our
my
second
wife.
time.
Oh, okay. But very much involved in helping the community, identifying issues in the field that she's in. Today we are talking about autism. But first, let me say thank you to you for taking the time, for coming over.
Yes, thank you.
So we can talk about this.
Yes.
So we can learn, we can identify, we can know how to react.
Right.
We know what to do and where the help is.
Right.
But before we go further, guys, let me give a shout out to the best Mexican restaurant, Yonkers, Westchester County, Lower Westchester, perhaps the world. Dos Marias, 200 New Main Street. They have a special taco day every Tuesday. They have a karaoke from, I believe, Wednesday through Saturday or Sunday. Happy hour. This is a great place to come with friends, mix and mingle, have a few drinks, wind down after a busy day at work. So guys, come on down. Support our local businesses. Do more than just talk. Many of us say we gotta support our local business, but many don't. So actions, not words. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
So today we are talking about autism. Complex issue.
Yes.
Okay, it's a complex issue.
Yes.
Sometimes it's hard to identify.
Yes.
Without using too long of explanation, tell us, what is autism?
Alrighty, to try to say it as quickly and succinctly as possible. The definition has evolved over the years. At first it was just, they would say it was neurological, developmental, but we know that autism is broader than that. It's a spectrum, and it's more focused now when you look up the definition on the three commonalities, which is social interactions, communication, and understanding language from you to me and back and forth. So those are the three common denominators, no matter how high you are on the spectrum or if you're lower functioning on the spectrum.
So when we talk about spectrum, let's see if people understand what the spectrum is. You might look at a child, one adult, everything seems to be normal,
Right.
but it's not normal. That means when they look to be normal, but they're not normal, what does that mean? What spectrum? The spectrum goes from 1 to 10?
Yes, it can go from 1 to a million and everything in between. It's a spectrum within spectrums, believe it or not. It's not just one. So there are children now on the spectrum that have normal IQ, who do not have developmental disabilities, meaning they're not delayed in their development, but they still have the issues with social interactions in a social place, communication, and understanding language. It doesn't have to always be all three of them for each child, but it's one or two of them a lot of the times. And sometimes they can have a cohort, meaning another diagnosis with autism. So it could be autism and intellectual disabilities, or autism and cerebral palsy, or autism and being blind. It could be other things, autism and ADHD. Or, you know what I'm saying? It could be other
A combination of...
Right. Sometimes it's not just one. Sometimes it's other things that's exacerbating the issue.
Now, there is families that might have an autistic child, but don't even realize that they
that
do.
was me. Yeah.
That was you? That was your
me.
case?
Yeah.
And
I'm a parent, by the way. That's how I got into all of this.
Well, so tell us about your experience. See, it's a whole different thing between me knowing from reading and knowing because I am experiencing the issue.
Exactly. So I had my son in 91. So the 90s and the early 2000s as opposed to 2023 is vastly different. At that time, autism awareness wasn't as heightened as it is now. Now, even the average person that's not involved with autism or any type of cognitive or intellectual disabilities, see a kid having a meltdown or a kid that's having a problem, they may think, you know what, that kid may be autistic, because now it's out there in the atmosphere. It's more publicized now. So when he was born, and he went through a regression because at first he was coming along nicely in his development, and then at about 2.5 he regressed. He lost his speech. He lost a lot of learned abilities that he was able to gain, and then to this day he was speaking, and now he's nonverbal. Now he's 31 years old now. Okay. He's still nonverbal, but me seeing that and never had heard, known, or experienced autism, I didn't know what that was all about. So, I mean, I did my due diligence. I took him, to try to get evaluated, and you may get an evaluation that's not correct. That happened to me. And, a title, a diagnosis that was, for my son, his first one was incorrect. That may happen. At that time, the doctors, autism was really kind of considered rare in the 90s, and that was very, very pervasive. It's like 1 in 36 is the national prevalence number in the whole United States. 1 in 36 children. So if you see a school bus that has 45 kids, definitely 1 or possibly 2 kids have autism on that bus. That's how popular it is.
So are you saying that autism always existed?
Oh, yes.
The only issue is it was not identified back then?
It was known in the 90s. As a matter of fact, the first autism, how we know it today, was discovered in the 1930s. I think it's been around longer than that, but I think it had a different face then. But in more recent times, like in the last 70, 80, 100 years, we're seeing the severity, the developmental disability side of it, being nonverbal, being like kind of in your own world and not social at all. They seen the first case of that in the 1930s. That's documented, so you can look that up and you can find that. So since then, it's been out. But in the 90s, these doctors, when I took him to a children's hospital, wasn't familiar with it. So they gave him the diagnosis of multiply disabled, because it was certain things that was a fact. He wasn't speaking, he wasn't making eye contact, but they didn't connect it to autism at that time. They gave him multiply disabled. Now, because the autism is really more heightened, the awareness is out there, people kind of sometimes forcefully identify or diagnose kids because it's like, oh, he's not acting right, he's got to be autistic. That's not always true. But because it's so popular and it's the height, the most popular developmental disability, and it's highly diagnosed, it could be possible.
Now, is autism preventable?
Autism is genetic, so it's not preventable, but what you can do, the earlier you get the diagnosis and you get the supports and services in place, the farther along down the development their child will be, or better able to handle daily tasks, or be better able to understand language because they got the supports. And so whatever it is that's ailing them when they first show their face, and you get the supports put in place, it helps them with the coping. Whatever it is, if it's sensory, if it's they can't hear properly, whatever it is, if you get the diagnosis and you get the professional and proper help for the child, it helps them in their regulation and their executive functions, and it helps them get back on track. But when they are absent of those services, you see it.
So it is important to identify autism as early as possible, because earlier is identified, sooner we can.
That's part one.
That's part
Get
one.
identified. Part two is getting the services and support.
As soon as
get
possible.
the intervention, the early intervention for the child, as soon as possible. Because the thing we do not want our kids to do is get comfortable in not speaking, or if they can't, because there's a percentage. There's a percentage that are nonverbal. That's how it is. But there are some kids who start off nonverbal that, with proper interventions and therapies, speech therapy, things like that, OTs, things like that, helps them get the speech, find the speech, and help them, promote, get better at it.
So guys, if you have an autistic child that was verbal and then all of a sudden start to become unverbal, nonverbal, don't let him feel comfortable with nonverbal. Look for an intervention.
It's when it comes to families of color, our people, is more complicated. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to blame it on just our people, but when you're a parent, it's hard to see your child decline. and you might not want to accept it. But I do know firsthand, families of color, it's a stigma within the community, and we don't like to accept it. But if we can get beyond, the sooner you can get beyond that to get them the help that they need, the better off the child is. The child needs the parent or the advocate, you, to advocate for them, to get them the services they need so they can get better. Because what you want to do is get your child to be as independent as possible, so when we leave this earth, they can take care of themselves. Staying in denial is not going to help your child when you're not here.
Correct. And I think that's a nightmare for the parent.
Yes.
That has a child that is not able to maneuver.
Right.
And then we getting older, not younger.
Yep.
And we feel that we are at the end of our path, and we're going to leave our child here without us to manage by itself.
Yes.
Now, guys, we put lots of videos out, and many of you share our videos. Some videos that you share are not so good, shows things that shouldn't happen, but they do happen, because we don't make the news, we just report the news. But this one is one of the videos, type of the videos that we wish you would share it.
Yes.
You would ask your friends to share it, because it helps, it will help the community.
At this
So you
point,
want to show us some...
Yeah, at this point, this is the prevalence. The national prevalence is 1 in 36. 1 in 36, it's a little bit complicated in how they got this number, but 1 in 36 8-year-olds, the CDC has done a survey, like an evaluation. And they went across, certain states that they have a network that they are affiliated with. And they came with that number. Each year, every 2 to 3 years, the number climbs. It never declines. Has never declined. Since the Autism Developmental Disabilities Monitoring Network came into play in 2000, that's connected with the CDC, the numbers have been going up every 2 to 4 years. So this 1 in 36 number was recently published March 23 of 2023. This is an old number that's 2 to 3 years old, so this number might even be higher today. So with the number being so high, if there's any issue with your child, if they're having a reading or articulation problem, a speech problem, you want to get your child what they need as early as possible.
Now, the Queen, I need to apologize, because this is the first time you're sitting with me, and it has happened before, so I took what happened before as an experience to avoid. You see me here with my phone, chit-chatting. I'm actually not chit-chatting, I'm engaging with the audience, our interview.
Oh, okay.
So if they ask me something, I can say, okay, give me a second. So some people say, why you disrespectful to your guests? They there and you're chatting. I am not chatting. I am, multitasking, as they say. I'm multitasking. Look, I spoke with Assemblyman Nader Sayed.
Yes.
Some time ago. He's an advocate for autism issues, and he had a bill. I don't know if he passed it or didn't pass, but I know he was working on a bill that identify autistic children. I don't know, they would issue a sticker that an autistic child that drove, they would put the sticker on the windshield. So if that car is stopped, okay, it's stopped by a police officer, and a police officer approaches the car, he sees the sticker, and he knows how to deal with the driver. How you feel about that?
I think that's a good idea. Anything that we can do is a good idea to help our families.
But I feel that there is a but there.
There is a but. I want to answer it in 2 parts. We want to do as much as we can to help support the families, because if you have a child with a disability, a lifelong disability, it affects the whole family. So it affects the mom, the dad, and the siblings in different ways. So the whole family needs the support. So something like that, having that in the window of a car, windshield, that's great. We want to make sure, this is something that I'm taking initiative and doing. I've already met with council people and even the legislator to train police officers to recognize an individual that has autism. So what I have communicated is very important, that we don't get one idea in our head what autism looks like, because it looks different. Like you said, they look normal because some of them are typical kids, but they have some extra. Some kids are more challenged. The kids that are more challenged, you can see they're more challenged. But the kids that don't look like something is wrong with them, but they're having an extra issue, that's where it could be complicated.
Well, Queen, I think that goes without saying.
Right.
And I'll tell you why. Because if I am a police officer,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trained to deal with situation in a certain way.
Yes.
Normal police officers come or engage with the community with a certain tone of voice.
Yes.
Not because they're disrespectful, it's because the voice must transmit power, comply, blah, blah. But once they see a sticker, they might know.
That's helpful. That's very helpful.
That might know, okay, this is a person that I have to change how I engage.
Yes, but does he know how
But
to engage?
that's what I'm getting to it. But once I see that sticker,
Mm-hmm.
I must be trained to know how to engage
Right,
with
and that's
that person.
that's the
key.
missing piece of the puzzle. Get it? That's the missing piece as
But
well.
we don't know if it's missing or if the bill already covers
Well,
that.
that one is a piece that's being put into play. So that's good as far as making a police officer aware of anyone else that is aware because it's posted. But how to actually interact with, like I said, one person, it's a spectrum. So each individual is unique in their own way, how they are with autism. So if I'm a police officer and I'm trained a certain way, I have to control the situation at all times. If I have a child that's in the car, I see it says, kid has autism. Okay, I know that. Do I really know what that means? That's one thing. But take the kids out the car. And things can happen. What if I touch your gun and I'm a kid with autism and he has to be trained. It needs to be a training.
Correct.
So that's why that's important. But I do agree. Anything that helps our families and helps our kids with autism is always a plus.
Correct.
It's never
because
negative.
just a sticker is not going to solve the issue. If
And-
I see a sticker but don't know how to
Right.
engage with
Right.
the person
Right.
behind the steering wheel with my have the autism,
Right.
then that sticker means nothing.
Right.
So
That's gonna go right now. But to be fair, it's really hard. Police officers have a very hard job. They're called for everything. You know what I'm saying? Whenever there's a problem,
They have
they're
to be
always
everything.
called
They
and they
have
have
to
to right. So that's unfair. But what would equalize the playing field is for them to get the proper training. So
Yeah.
they are equipped when things like this happen and they don't feel like they don't know what to do and stuff like that.
But I think that's part of the thing when it comes to police officer. Sensitivity training,
Right.
engagement with people of a different ethnicity, how to talk to a child, how to talk to a woman, how to talk to an elderly. Training, it's important. When things like this are implemented, I'm sure that training must be behind it, because if the officer is not trained to deal with a person with autism, then we have a problem.
Right. And we've had those problems. They have been publicized.
Yeah.
That's the thing. This is a particular niche type of training. This is not something police officers automatically get in every municipality, county, state. Different states, different counties, cities feel that it's more important, and you see that they put more work into that training, and others have none.
Now, I see you have this program that you run at the PAL for the last 10 years. Okay, every year you have what? Is that a weekend, one day? How is that?
Okay, so what you attended at the PAL was Autism Resource and Provider Fair. So that's when we bring out providers, resources to families. Because one of the things that I experienced, this is why this all happened, is not knowing where to go for special services for my child. It was like it was a secret. This is back in the 90s. Things are a lot better now. So individuals like myself, who was a mom, help families. So I have a couple of programs that we're going to start back up in the summer. Thanks to the county, I got a grant. So it's hip hop classes, fitness classes, and something called the 21 Club. The 21 Club is specifically for young adults that transition out of special ed, where all the guarantees of special ed are done now, and now it's a complete different world. They should be getting job training or pre-vocational training, or if they're not there, have some type of a recreational type fun activities, arts and things for them to engage in. A lot of our young adults that are even more challenged just sit at home, or they just go to a day where they are just being babysat. They don't do anything. They don't really interact. So these 3 programs are something that I thought of because my son is over 21. So you know what that's like. Fitness is an issue for our kids. A lot of them are medicated, so they gain a lot of weight. And then hip hop is just something of this generation. And our kids love music. So why not? You know what I'm saying? And I've done this program already, so this will be the second year that I'm doing it. And these kids are able to make their own beat. Some of the kids that are verbal can say a 2-liner, my name is Ben, and whatever rhymes with that, we help them. Some of them don't need our help, some of them do. Some of them are nonverbal, we don't expect them to speak, but we just let them listen to the music and feel the beat and you know, get into it in that way. And then something new that I want to implement is a quiet activity. A lot of our kids on the spectrum can't deal with loud noises. They can't deal with bright lights, so it has to be more sensory sensitive. So something like maybe taking photographs, doing different things. Is it always is something out there that we can modify for every kid, no matter where they are on the spectrum in their development with their sensory issues? Is something out there for them, and we just do it and modify it. Yes.
Now that you said the word sensory, are you aware of the Yonkers Public Library? It's opening.
Yes, my man Sandy.
Sandy, it's my mentor.
You saw him at the fair, right?
I did see him
so
at the fair.
So me and him is partnering on a lot of things, and one of the things that they knew for a while in Yonkers Library didn't really have anything for special needs, but now they do. They have a really great sensory room. You're able to view movies there. They have different activities that help you decompress. And the thing is, decompression nowadays is not just for the special needs individual.
Correct.
Our kids are overloaded. So even the typical kid can go there and kind of just decompress and let the world be out there while they just take a moment for themselves. And, you know.
Sandy,
Sandy,
Ernest
what's up?
Amoyau, I think. Sandy, if I didn't say your name wrong, I apologize. But Sandy is a good friend of mine.
Yes.
We've been working together. Well, he's helping me every time I need to go to the Yonkers Public Library. Great guy, doing good work. And he just informed me about this new room that is opening up, I think,
And
next
I've seen
week.
it.
You seen
No,
it?
no. It's open.
But I think the grand opening is going to be because
They did something at the Clove Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, but there is something happening next week.
Yeah, you're right. Excuse me.
And
You're right.
I'm going to be there to show you live what the room is, but nothing like being there, okay,
Right.
and experience it by yourself. Like I love strawberries, and I can tell you guys how nice a strawberry tastes. But unless you taste it,
Right.
you would never know.
Right.
Right?
You're right.
But Queen, let's say I am a parent, just came to the United States, because look, there is no other country like United States.
True.
When we look for help. Yeah, could things be better? Definitely. There is
Right.
always room for improvement.
Yes.
But let me tell you, I come from Africa. I went to school in Portugal. And if we compare my country, Mozambique, Portugal, and United States in regards to social programs, programs that will help our kids, with food, medical, United States is up here. The other countries are down here. Could things be better? Yeah, there is always room for improvement. But we have a great country. So I come from a country where I had nothing, basically, into United States. I'm start thinking that my son, daughter, might have a problem. My brother, little brother. And what is the first step to look for help? Where do I go? Do I go to a hospital? Do I go to an organization? Do I see you? Do I look where? What's that very first step that I need to take?
All right. So because I'm a parent, I'm going to approach this question a little bit differently. As a parent, you see something that's going on with your child, you don't know what it is. You just want to try to empower yourself, look for information, but as you're looking for information, you want to become like a warrior for your kid. So you want to look for specialized hospitals to get the proper diagnosis. If your child is not in school yet, you want to try to get them early intervention as well. How do you start all of that? Start researching. If you move to a new country, a new neighborhood, and you don't know nobody in a new state, start going. The good thing is Google's free, and it's a beautiful thing. Get on there and just start typing in, where can I get a diagnosis? Where is there a developmental pediatrician? Where is there a specialist with certain aspects with development? Where is there a hospital that a childhood hospital? You want to take your child out and do not give up. You get one opinion, go and get a second, make sure it matches. That's what I did not do. I was very naive and did not know what to do at all. But you keep going out and trying to secure the services for your child, regardless of what the disability, the diagnosis is or disability is. Because maybe it's not autism, but it's like similar, but they still need speech and OT and physical therapy. You want to keep going until you can get those services for your kid, because that's what's going to make it better for them and make you feel better as you see them blossoming because they're getting the services and support. You do not want to stop. You're going to get discouraged. You're going to find some doctors that are insensitive, and they work with children. I've been there. You're going to find some doctors that are insensitive and will talk down to you, because I've been there too. But this is your baby, so you cannot give up. You have to keep going forward.
But you know, making your words my words and talking about that, your case started about 29 years ago. Your child is 31. Maybe by the time you identified he was
right.
2 or 3, there were things that you did not do.
Right.
But I'm sure that back then there were things that did not exist either. No, like now,
right.
we have you, we have other organizations
right.
that are dedicated through their own experiences that are now dedicated to help kids with autism.
Right.
So if I'm a parent with autism now, I can now jump on your wagon and make use of your own experiences.
Right.
Okay. So now things are a little different.
Yes.
You know, sometimes people, but that's where life is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For us to enjoy the freedom of today, many died.
Right.
For that experience.
Exactly.
So for us to know how to deal with kids with autism now, today, we can make use of your experience or the things that you did not have.
Right.
But now you realize that they were important.
Right.
In order to help me with my kid.
Right. Right.
I think.
And I think the most important out of that, what I did not have, is someone to talk to about it. I really didn't have like another mom. And see, that's what's good about present 2023, is that the networking. That's another reason why that fear is important too. When you have a child with a disability, lifelong, it can be very isolating. It just works on your esteem. You feel heartbroken. You feel guilty, as a lot of things parents go through. But when you are able to speak to someone else and you just have that release of just talking about it, that helps, and that can empower you too. Now I know this mom's been through it, and this is what she's telling me. Oh, what can I do? Try this. It might not work for your kid, work for mine, because all our kids are different, but that is very important to have a support team, because it's very isolating. Your child is not doing everything, at the, not reaching those milestones like the other children are. But the thing that's most important is for you to not be embarrassed. Try to get yourself into a mindset that this is my child and I have to advocate for them. I just have to, so they can get better.
You know another thing that you did not have back then?
You?
Exactly. You did not have Yonkers Voice.
Right, that's true.
You did not have other social platforms. Nowadays, an interview like this can reach a whole bunch of families.
Yes.
You might be reaching a mom that perhaps did not realize that her child was in the autism spectrum. Now she listens to you and says, I didn't see it from that angle.
Right.
So we live in a different era where communication, information is delivered in a different method.
Right.
So now let's talk about for a few minutes how let's say I'm at the pizza place, at the store, I'm the cashier, and I don't know how to deal with a child, and a child with autism comes to pay. Okay, is that any guidelines that maybe average people should be aware of?
Well, yes. So typically this is what happens. A child that has autism spectrum disorder and is alone at a pizza parlor most likely is able to pay. A child that has a cognitive disability usually has someone supervising them. They usually have somebody with them because they will need the supports, the reinforcements, or someone to actually help them with the transaction. So that's kind of known up front. But what the sensitivity of the person that's the cashier or the person that's dealing with the individual, just slow down for a second and just take some time. It's no different than someone being blind or someone that's deaf. You see what it is, and you take the time and give them a minute. Like the world moves too fast, and a lot of times people are not. It just takes a minute. Just take a minute to slow down and just have that sensitivity. If they're having problem articulating, like I'm not autistic, but I cannot talk at all. You hear me stuttering, right?
Wait a minute.
So, but take a minute. They might have an issue articulating what they're trying to say to you. They know, especially if they're there by themselves. That's anxiety too. Individuals that have autism that are higher on the spectrum, meaning not developmentally challenged, have anxiety about their communication. So they know full well that they're trying their best to communicate with you. So just take a minute. Just take a minute and help them along, and it gets done that much faster.
So you have a problem communicating?
I hate it because I stutter. And it doesn't come out how it was in my head, but so anyway.
We all have that problem.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm asking this is, look, my wife helps kids that within the autism spectrum.
Okay.
And every week, those kids go with her to Stool Lanners and other supermarkets to train so they can be around people.
Right.
But the end goal is that those kids one day are able to do those things themselves.
Exactly.
But because they do those things themselves does not mean they are no longer autism.
Right, exactly. It doesn't go away.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. The supports that you want to get them as soon as possible and as early as possible will help them be more independent and further down the line. Like, how they say high functioning, low functioning?
Mm-hmm.
So the high function, low functioning basically means if they're higher functioning, for the so-called typical world, it's easier for us to interact with them. If they're a lot lower functioning, it means for us, the burden on us is more in order to help them out, because they need a lot more hands-on with everything. So a person you want to try to get them to be more functional within the society. So if I have an articulation problem and a cognitive issue, I'm getting therapies to help me further down the line. So I can function better on my own. Hopefully one day, that's the goal within society. That's the goal. So that's why you want to get them the supports. The supports are everything. And the reason why I established myself right in the city where I was raising my son, in the urban metropolitan area, a lot of lower income people don't have that money like that to throw at the problem. They need the most support because they don't have the money. So they have to depend on Medicaid insurance, which means you could be waiting to get an evaluation. You don't have time to wait. You need to get that evaluation. So the advocacy is where it's at. You have to have that loud mouth. Be professional. Be a professional mom and let them know I'm serious about my kid. I'm getting what I need to get for my kid. I don't have to, get crazy.
It's
but
important.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
Loud mouth does not equal be disrespectful.
Right. It just means you are going to be that saying the
aggressive, looking for the help of your child.
Right, you're going to keep
way.
being vocal. Keep being vocal. You're going to keep trying to connect the dots. If this person act like they don't know how to do their job, you go around them and go to their superior. You go to somebody else. You keep going until you get what you need for your child. Don't give up.
Because the goal is get the help for your child.
Yes.
That is the goal. Guys, Yonkers Voice is always at the help of the community. We try to be involved. We try to inform you of what's going on in the community, but we also are very interested in being the platform where it amplifies your voice and your concerns, and also helps you or helps us understand other issues based on your experiences, as the case of the Queen. We're using her experiences to help us deal with our problems today. So that is the goal. We are not interested in the harassment, intimidation, getting involved with the nonsense. We prefer to put our energy on things that matter and things that will help our community and people in our community. That is our goal. Now, I could stay here with you talking for the rest of the day, but unfortunately, you have plans, I have plans, but I want to allow you, I want to let you do the closure. If there is anything that I didn't ask, that you think it's important, this is my sugar thing letting me know my sugar is high. So if there is anything that I forgot to ask you, but you think it's important for the people to know, please do the closure.
Okay, that's a big question. I just want to say, which is most important, parents, never give up. Keep getting your child the support that they need. It's really, the puzzle analogy is so really on point because it's the thing you don't know. So you have to keep trying and keep trying until you find that missing piece, and then the lights will turn on and you'll see them blossom. So it's me keeping you encouraged, just trying to encourage you as much as possible to never give up. So we're having a Mother's Day luncheon for May 13th. We are honoring our special moms. It's all about the moms this day, because I'm a mom myself, so I know what that's about. It's not about the kids. And we're honoring 4 community people that work with special needs across the board, that do it, they love it, it's what they do, it's in their DNA. We did this last year, this is our 2nd annual, so that will be going on. I can give you the flyer another time.
Definitely.
We have events and programs throughout the summer. I do at least 7 to 10 events, and then those 3 programs that I told you about is going to happen in the summer. So social media, the website is theautismproject-flos.org. That's frankloveoctopussam.org. Facebook is the Autism Project Floss. YouTube, you can go to YouTube and see all of our event videos. It's the same, the Autism Project Floss. And then we have _Project Floss is Instagram, and we're on TikTok. So we're out there, we're doing things. We're like the little engine that could. We're small but mighty. We're doing our thing. And we just want to empower the family, because it's hard.
If somebody wants to make a donation, if somebody wants to help out, if somebody wants to be involved, because maybe there is lots of people out there that they don't have an autistic child as a son or daughter, but they have an autistic child in the family. Or maybe they don't, but they believe that it's an important program and they're able to help financially, because I know there is needs. Money, it's around everything, you know. How can they get that to you?
Yes, and my greatest supporters have no children on the spectrum, no disabilities, but they have compassion and they're supportive. So you can go to my website, you can make a donation there. You can Cash App it as well. $, I don't remember, what's my Cash App? $Queen706, that's the business Cash App. And actually I want to say thank you as well. A young lady, I forgot her name, she's gonna kill me. She came to the fair, she fundraised for me at her school. I hugged this lady so hard, and I gave her an extra shout out. I wanna go actually to that school. I'm gonna call you. I wanna go to that school and thank them for fundraising for our organization. Every dollar helps, and we greatly appreciate it. We don't take anyone or anything for granted. So that's the social media, and you can go right to the website, www.theautismproject-frankloveoctopussam.org, and go to the donation page and make a donation. Thank you so much.
Guys, taking what she said, you know, if you want to donate personally, do that. If you want to organize a fundraiser in your own company, on your own jobs, you know, put a bucket there, Autism Fund, people can put the money there, and then when you have all the funds there that you want to transfer to the Queen, then you can go to that site.
Or you can volunteer for free.
Or you can volunteer.
Just give of yourself.
Yeah,
we love that too.
Not everything is about money.
Nope.
There is many ways of supporting an organization. Yes, funds help in many ways, but the volunteer from each person also go long ways. Okay. Maybe I cannot donate funds, but maybe my friend can. I can ask my friend if he's interested. Maybe I don't have any friends, but I can donate my time to help the organization. Many ways of donating. Guys, we have to conclude. I thank you for taking the time to be here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
I thank Dos Marias, 200 New Main Street in Yonkers, the place for the great, great Mexican food. Great place to come with friends, to mix and mingle and make new friends. I'm one of those guys that say that I always have room for one more friend, and I think that is more like I, okay, that always have room for one more friend. So come here, this is a great place to do it. Come, have a beer, chicken wings are,
Oh, for real?
Oh yeah, the chicken wings are just unbelievable. Did I mention the Taco Tuesdays yet?
Yes, you did.
Well, I'm gonna mention again. Taco Tuesdays. Great price, great ambiance, family environment, karaoke from Wednesday to Saturday or Sunday. Come on down, have some fun. Support your local businesses. Do more than just talk about it. Actions, not words. Thank you. Thank you, Queen.
Thank
Great conversation, great information. Once again, I ask you, this is the type of stuff, the type of interview that we wish you would share because you can help somebody else.
Yes.
This is it. Thank you. Yonkers Voice is always focused on helping the community, making this be a platform where your voice is amplified. And if you have anything that you feel you need to talk about it that will help the community be a better place, contact us at yv@yonkersvoice.com. Reach out, and my platform, our platform, is at your disposal to come and talk about issues that you think is important. Thank you. Thank you. Until next time.